So when do you go for the prayers? Right now? For the candle?
As soon as he's online.
Huh? Yeah. So, Brother Rich, are you online? He's online, yeah. I'll put this here. My dear friends, we're officially convened. Good news. So a very heartfelt welcome to you. Thank you so much for all the people who are here and wonderful friends who are online. Let's start with a chant, which I love to do in person with all of you. Please join in. Allahu Allah. Knowing that when we praise divinity, God doesn't become holy, we become holy. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Just the beloved women, please. Just the beloved men. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Beloved family, together. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Once softly. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Twice aloud. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. And my dear friends, becoming very still, allowing our hearts to be filled with what is called the glow of presence.
We have a couple of rituals that we begin our sacred space with, and one is calling in our ancestors. So I'm going to invite you to stand and to place your hands on your heart and think of all of history, the beginning of time, the beginning of creation, and allow you to feel that evolution to the moment and into the future. And we honor our ancestors, those who came before us and those who will follow us after. And I invite you to lift your hands in praise. Bring your hands back to your heart And now touch the earth. And back to your heart. And in gratitude, we call in our ancestors. Thank you. Please be seated. Another ritual we have is to honor our first peoples. And in our community here, on the land that we are sitting on and create our sacred space within, is the land of the first peoples, the indigenous peoples of this area, and specifically the Duwamish tribe. And they consider themselves and are Coast Salish peoples, which are water peoples. And we have lush water avenues throughout our northwest here. And so take a moment to feel that flow of time, but also feel that flow of water that comes down the mountain, through the streams, and into the ocean. And we honor our first peoples. Another ritual we have is we honor the divine feminine. And we've invited George to share with us this morning.
Thank you, Jamal.
You want to stand, or are you okay with this?
I'm fine.
Sure.
Good morning. I hate to turn my back on you guys. No, that's fine. So I've been given the honor this morning to present the offering to the divine feminine. And in light of the fact that this discernment encourages us, invites us to meet the divine feminine in humanity, I thought I would read a brief thing from a gentleman called Deepak Chopra, who I think says something interesting. He says, "What does the divine feminine add to everyone's life? In one way or another, we all express qualities of the divine feminine. Whether it's nurturing, devotional, compassionate, loving, intuitive, or reflective energy, the divine feminine is present. You might feel yourself resisting the expression of certain qualities to meet social approval, because we have all been conditioned to do so. When the feminine energy is ignored or wounded, the same values that this energy carries are lost. In their absence, a presence of qualities associated with masculine energy takes form. Forceful, overly competitive, controlling, domineering. These attributes are exaggerated and far removed from wholeness. Society tells us that these energies are either or, and we are made to feel uncomfortable expressing ourselves as we truly are, a union of all. On the individual level, the loss of the divine feminine can be devastating. There is an imbalance towards the masculine, which no one can sustain without damaging their capacity for loving acceptance, beginning with self-acceptance. I doubt there is anyone who can't benefit from healing the wounded feminine energy within. We regain wholeness in meditation, but it is in applying self-awareness in daily life that healing steps can be taken. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother George. Let's just have a few seconds of silence to allow those beautiful words to, as we always say here, to perfume our heart. Okay, my dear friends, another chant is in order, this time from the Hindu tradition. sending praise and love to the female divine energies within and without. The words are simple. J, J, Ma. Repeat after me. J, J, Ma. J, J, Ma, 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 J, J, Ma. Thank you, my dear friends. I'm so delighted to be participating in this collaborative chanting. So today the topic is long, hopefully interesting. It's about humanism, spirituality, and the Divine Mother. So, in our community we have a number of people who call themselves secular humanists. So what is humanism? So I did the smart thing. I used Uncle Google, and I've got 3 definitions. I'd just like you to listen to those definitions. One is, humanism is a rational philosophy informed by science, inspired by art, and motivated by compassion. That's one. Another one is, humanism is a progressive philosophy of life that, without theism or other supernatural beliefs, affirms our ability and responsibility to lead ethical lives of personal fulfillment that aspires to the greater good. Okay, one last one is small. Humanism is an outlook or system of thought attaching prime importance to human rather than divine or supernatural matters. So just be with that for a few moments. If we dig deep into it, allow ourselves to go more into the meaning of what I have said, I find actually it's very similar, very akin to mysticism, to spirituality. It mentioned science. So I want to remove some misconceptions about Islam. It said informed by science. In Islam, the most used word is Allah. Do some of you know what is the second most used word in the Quran? Ilm, that's right. Someone said ilm, knowledge. The second most used word, knowledge. Prophet Muhammad said, go as far as China to acquire knowledge. And a beautiful verse in the Quran, it's a prayer. It says a very deep prayer is, oh God, please increase me, expand me in my knowledge. The second one was inspired by art. Now here, one misconception, of course, Muslims love to, focus on art, architecture. There's a misunderstanding that Muslims don't like music. quite the contrary. You go to any Muslim country, it's filled, blaring with all kinds of music, men and women singing. In fact, this 11th century famous sage, Al-Ghazali, he said if God was against music, for sure he would have forbidden birds to chirp. And the last one was about compassion. And actually, the Prophet Muhammad said, the core of Islam, the deepest spiritual wisdom, said the Prophet, peace be upon him, is compassion. He said, the entire wisdom of the Quran is in the Surah Fatiha, the first chapter. The entire wisdom of the first chapter of the Surah Fatiha is in the Basmallah. This is the invocation that opens almost all of the 114 chapters of the Quran. And what is the invocation? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Meaning, in the name of God, boundlessly compassionate, infinitely merciful. And as we have said many times before, a Bedouin asked the Prophet Muhammad, oh Prophet, he said, oh sweet Muhammad, tell me what is this, the secret of this, the meaning of this, the core of this invocation. And the Prophet Muhammad famously replied, this is the real meaning in your life. If you want to be happy, if you want to be fulfilled, if you want to be complete, have compassion on yourself and have compassion on others. That is the key. Okay, in the definitions we read that humanists don't like to talk about God. Well, people of religion, certainly mystics and sages, they do talk about God a lot, but always telling us not to be attached to our definition of God. The sad part is, in every religion, over the ages, human beings have not only talked about God continuously, debated, fought the other, even killed the other for their definition of God. This, of course, is very, very sad, because all the religions at their core, in their spirituality, they say, none of us can understand what God is. God is absolute mystery. That one verse, which I think some of you know it by heart from the Quran, if all the trees in the universe became pens, all the 7 oceans became ink, you began to write out the words of God, describing God, the oceans were depleted, you replenish them, still you wouldn't come close to describing a fraction of the fraction of the fraction of God's mysteries. And the mystery continues. The Quran says, Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein. Closer to you than your jugular vein. Another one says, every so where you turn is the face of Allah. This is a very profound verse with an extraordinary number of meanings. So I'll just spend a few seconds pondering on it. Every so where you turn is the face of Allah. And the Holy Book goes on, Allah is Zahir and Batin, outside of you, manifest, but also hidden, inside of you. Inside of me and inside of you. And I love that revelation that came to the Prophet Muhammad in a dream, where Allah says to each one of us, beloved one, I cannot be contained in the space of the earth or the heavens, but I can be contained in the space of the pure, loving heart. So divine heart is inside human heart. So I want us to understand the mystery of God. None of us understand what God is. The drop doesn't go into the ocean goes into the drop. I love that Sufi definition of God. In the name of him who has no name, but who appears by whatever name you call her. Another one is, whatever you think God is, the opposite is also true. And there's a verse in the Quran that says, no matter how hard you try, you will never be able to understand God. And this is by command of spirit. In the East, they say trying to understand God or the invisible world with a rational mind is like using a bamboo stick to measure the depth of the ocean. So let's take refuge in Rumi's famous verse about all of this. He says, sell your cleverness and buy bewilderment. Just stay in bewilderment. And this is the key that I think humanists are trying to tell us. That mystics have been telling us over the ages that about God, about the invisible world, the best thing you can do, Jamal, is just be in awe, in wondrous, joyous awe of something we'll never understand, but something we'll feel. Do you feel the awe and wonder of the invisible world, of what we call God, divinity, spirit, chi energy? I love the saying from Tao Te Ching that it is when people lose their sense of awe and wonder, when people lose their sense of awe and wonder, that is when they turn to religion, to the institution of religion. And it goes on, when people no longer believe in themselves, when people no longer believe in themselves, that is when they turn to pundits, experts, authorities. And one more point that Rumi makes, he says, all these debates about God, in three pieces or in just one or having arms and legs, it's very unnecessary, unwise. And I love his metaphor, which I think about all the time. He says, getting into these discussions about God, debates about God, about the invisible world, about the afterlife, is like a bird that ties a snare around its leg and unties it. Makes it even more complex next time and unties it. Makes it even more complex and unties it again. Makes it even more super complex and unties it again to show off its strange skill. Forgetting the point is to escape. And Rumi says, how we have forgotten, in the metaphor of the bird, to feel the joy, the freedom of the mountain air. Just be with that. Okay. Then humanism says the focus is on the human. The mystics say there's a lot about human we must understand, the human being, me and you. Those who've read the Quran, Allah in the Quran says that God created the human from water and clay and then infused that container with divine breath. And then this is the most marvelous part, having created this astonishing being, God asks the angels, to bow down to the human. To bow down to the human. And the angels are reluctant, but they do, except for one who becomes Satan. But God says, bow down, bow down. You do not know what I know. I have placed the names of all things in the human. The human has the potential, and this is not just theory. It says in the Quran, to rise to the highest, higher than angels, and sing to the lowest of the lowest. But the human being has responsibilities and privileges. Allah says in the Quran, and we have honored the children of Adam. Allah has a special covenant with a human being. Oh Jamal, oh you are the ambassador or ambassadress of God, says the Quran. It's called the vice regent, the Khalifa. And it says, so you can enjoin the good and forbid the evil. And then there is a special covenant with the human being. Alastu bi rabbikum. Allah gathered all the unborn humanity and said, am I not your sustainer? And we all said, yes, yes, we testify. Meaning, when you go down to earth, are you going to put Allah, divinity, divine traits of love, compassion, oneness, forgiveness, patience, are you going to put divine attributes in the center of your life? We said, yes, 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 yes. But when you came down to earth, we forgot. And that's okay. Because the sages say, that's why we are here, to remember. For doomed to forget, so you might remember. For doomed to slumber, so you might awaken. But there's one more privilege bestowed on the human. It's called the amanat, the trust, which God first offered to the mountains, to the heavens, and they got scared. No, 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 no. Because why? It is the trust of continuously increasing our awareness and exercising our free will. Exercising our free will. Very difficult. The mountains refused it. The heavens refused it. But man accepted it. And Allah says in the Quran, in a tongue-in-cheek verse, and mankind, humankind, was foolish. It's very difficult to continuously expand our awareness because we are tribal. And to exercise free will. Prophet Muhammad said, every day when you go out into the world, in the course of your daily life, at every moment, you're exercising free will, making choices that redeems your soul or oppresses your soul. Very difficult. You know, there's a story in the Islamic tradition. The angels were complaining to God. Oh God, why did you make human beings, send them to earth? They become corrupted. You should have sent us angels. So what did God say? Okay, choose 2 of your best. Send them to earth. I'll send them to earth. They did. In the Quran it's mentioned there, Harut and Marut. They come down to earth, and guess what? Because of this need to expand awareness continuously, but particularly because at every moment we have to exercise free will, even the angels got corrupted. That is why in the Islamic tradition it says, in the Quran it says, the angels are continuously, after this experience of the 2 of the best ones, angels are continuously praying to God, oh please forgive the humans for their transgressions. It's very difficult. So just be with that for a few moments. So when humans were sent down to earth and we forgot our mission, as it were, a lot of sages ask this question, but why does God need us humans to struggle? To struggle to do what? To transform our ego. As I love to say, quoting the mystics, from a commanding master to a personal assistant. The work is also about opening up the heart. The Quran says over time, as human beings have experiences in life and face all these temptations and trials and tribulations, they create a rust on the heart, and you've got to remove the rust. Not easy. If you get irritated by every rub, how will the mirror of your heart ever be polished? We have to do this work continuously. Not because it just pleases God, it does. It makes us more complete as a human being. It gives us a greater capacity within to if you're a Buddhist, to enjoy equanimity. If you're a Muslim, to enjoy being surrendered to God. If you're a Christian, to be saved. If you're a Hindu or Buddhist, to be freed. It is for our sake. But it is not easy. It's very difficult. And then to be of service to God's creation. So the question was, why does God need this? Rumi says, God could have sent in 1 nanosecond, because God is all powerful, all aware. In 1 nanosecond, God could have sent full-blown prophets and prophetesses to earth. Why did they send people like me or you, half-baked people or non-baked people? What's the purpose of this? No one knows. Mystery. I love very much a revelation that came to the Prophet Muhammad in a dream. God says, I was a secret treasure and I longed to be known. I was a secret treasure and I longed to be known, and so I created you and the worlds, visible and invisible. You know, there's a modern day poetry of Hafiz where Hafiz says, God revealed to me a sublime secret. God said to me, I am made whole, W-H-O-L-E, I am made whole by you. Each soul completes me. So now, where does Divine Mother come into this? To do this work of transforming my ego, opening up my heart, being of service, I have to root my work, my activities, my understanding in compassion, say the Islamic sages. And compassion is a divine feminine quality. We said it was the core of Islamic spirituality, and it is feminine. You know, I said, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allah is boundlessly compassionate, infinitely merciful. Rahman Rahim has its roots in Raham, which means womb. The womb. And also, secondly, the great sages say, it has to be rooted in the divine feminine quality of respecting and having love and revering that womb. That womb is sacred. The Quran several times says, revere, respect, revere Allah. And the second line is, and revere the wombs that bore you. Revere Allah and revere the wombs that bore you. Jamal, can I do this work in my existence on this planet Earth with compassion and with sacredness? And the Prophet Muhammad, throughout his life, he paid such respect to women, and particularly mothers, not just those who have children, but those who have the capacity to be motherly. One of his famous sayings is, paradise lies at the feet of your mother. And he would speak so often about this need for honoring, revering the womb of a mother, that one congregant, you might say, one devotee, finally asked the Prophet Muhammad, "O Prophet Muhammad, what if and this is an answer to your remark that you can never repay what your mother has done for you. Even for one single night of pain she has endured for you all throughout your life. You can never repay her." And this annoyed practitioner said, "Prophet Muhammad, What if I literally and metaphorically take my infirm, unwell mother and carry her on my back for the rest of her life? Would that not be repayment enough? And the Prophet Muhammad said, that's noble, that's beautiful, but there's still a difference. You are doing this for your mother, waiting for her to die. But your mother did all of this waiting for you to live. So please honor this divine sacredness of the divine feminine. Just be with that for a few moments. Very quickly, I want to tell you that that beloved female saint, and I want to repeat the stories because let's go deeper into it, ponder on it again. Rabia, the 8th, 9th century beloved female saint, she was accosted by these men who would say, Rabia, you see all these beautiful things, what the Prophet Muhammad said, this, that, and all that, what the Quran says about women, about men. But have you not noticed, Rabia, that the crown of prophethood has been placed only on the head of men? The belt of nobility has only gone around the waist of a man, never a woman. And Rabia replied, yes, but this scream within oneself saying, I am your Lord, worship me. I am your Lord, I am your God, I am your Master, worship me, has always come from the breast of a man, never a woman. And also, all these prophets, prophetesses, whatever you call them, sages, it has required the womb of a woman to give birth. And this actually symbolized in Islam by the chapter in the Quran, chapter 19, Maryam, Mary. Muslims believe in the virgin birth. Angel Gabriel came and said, you'll be with a child, and she was very unhappy. But she suffered birth pangs. She retreated to a lonely place. God helped her, and there she gave birth to Jesus, peace be upon him. And what is the insight from this? That, Jamal, remember, understand this. It requires the womb of a Mary to give birth. And we all have to give birth to our inner Jesus. It requires compassion, mercy, patience, forbearance, silence. The mystics say, have you noticed the hen? Doing nothing. You might say doing nothing at all, being lazy, sitting on the egg in silence, but giving life to that egg. By the way, Rabia goes on to talk about the mysteries of life. Because you see, if you are compassionate, if it is imbued with sacredness, it gives rise to what sages call creative wisdom. And Rabia says, all this unnecessary talk about heaven and hell, all this fear, all this lust for heaven, the pleasures of heaven, all this fear for hell, it's unnecessary. You remember the story of Rabia? This is a true story. She would run in the streets with a torch of fire and a pail of water. What are you doing, Rabia? Where are you going? With this pail of water, I'm going to quench the fires of hell. With this torch of fire, I'm going to burn all those pleasures of heaven. Is this a way to live, she said? Is this a way to live? Fear of hell? Lust for heaven? And a beautiful prayer. Oh God, please, please. If I worship you, if I do good deeds, if I do this, I do that, but if I worship you for fear of hell, please burn me in hell. If I worship you for the entrance to heaven, please bar me from its gates. But if I worship you for you, just for you, just for you, please begrudge me not your everlasting beauty. Just be with that as I bring it to a close. I'll just make one comment about creative wisdom that comes from compassion, that comes from sacredness, the creative wisdom. A story I think I told several sermons ago. A true story. I was attending a Fetzer Institute program many years ago in Michigan, and it was a very powerful group that had gathered, and there was this African-American activist who was telling why he became an activist. And he was saying that when he was just about, I think, 6 or 7, 8 years old, he went to school, and a white little boy had called him the N-word, and he immediately slapped the white boy. And when he went home and told his parents, father said, "Son, you stood up for your rights. I'm proud of you. Well done." But the mother took him aside and said, "Son, so you slapped him. What good did that do? Son, listen to me. There has to be a better way." Those words, that beautiful words of wisdom, "Son, there has to be a better way." He said that really resonated. And that is why he chose to become an activist. Okay, I'll close with one hadith of the Prophet Muhammad, which is very misunderstood. Prophet Muhammad said, "In your world, I have loved, what is dear to me are two things: women and perfume. And what has given comfort to my eyes is prayers." Rather than talk about it, let me just give you a verse, the first about women, that inspired Rumi to go into a trance and utter. Rumi exclaimed, "Woman is a ray of light from God. Woman is a ray from God, light from God. She is not your earthly beloved. She is creative, not created. She is creative, not created." Perfume. Again, Rumi about perfume. By speech, by silence, by fragrance, catch the scent of divinity everywhere. By speech, by silence, by fragrance, catch the scent of spirit everywhere. Last one was prayer. One prostration of prayer to God liberates you from 1,000 prostrations to your ego. Or remembering God. "Oh God, I remembered you so much. Oh God, I invoked you. I remembered you so much that little by little you arrived, and little by little I departed." Just be with that for a few moments. My dear friends, a very short meditation. Close your eyes. Focus on your nostril and just be present with your breath as you inhale and as you exhale. Allowing yourself to become more and more relaxed, tranquil, calm. And now letting go of this, but this time focusing on your heart. And as you know, our heart has been yearning, thirsting to connect with us. Put your hand over your heart if you like, and feel your heart. As you focus on the heart and put your hand on your heart, feel your heart. Feel the heartbeat. If the face of Allah is everywhere, as the Quran says, Allah is also the breath within the breath and the heartbeat within the heartbeat. Connect to spirit. If you're a humanist, connect to basic goodness inherent in every human being, the basic core goodness. Connect to that by simply being present to the heartbeat. And then through the heart, listen to the beautiful revelation that came to the Prophet Muhammad in a dream, where spirit says, "Beloved one, I cannot be contained in the space of the earth. I cannot be contained in the space of the heavens, but I can be contained in the space of the pure, loving heart. Spirit is inside you. Basic goodness is inside you." Just being with that mystery. And I want to connect with that spark, that divine spark, that incredible goodness within me, which is in the innermost chambers of my heart. One way to draw it out is by saying words of beauty, of love, of compassion. Islamic mystics suggest, try this. Place these words, the vibrations of these words inside your heart. I love you, but with feeling, sincerity. It's okay if you feel awkward, try it. I love you. Or please, help me to love you. You can add other words. Thank you. I am so grateful. I surrender to you. You can go on. Please, help me. I need help. I need help. Please help me. But say it again and again and again and again. As you keep saying those words of beauty, a most beautiful divine vibration, or incredibly powerful vibration filled with love, blessings, healing, is going from the tongue into the mouth, into the throat, deep into the chest, into the heart, even deeper into what is called the hidden, even deeper into the hidden of the hidden. Amazingly, loving us, blessing us, healing us, empowering us. Stop saying anything at all. Just become very still, silent. Together, let's chant Bismillah and open your eyes gently. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. One more time. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. My dear friends, we'll do one more chant honoring the Divine Mother, the Divine Feminine. And the words are in your flyer or brochure here, which says World Chants. It's the last one, Hazrati Bibi, beloved, respected female person. We say, so we'll start with Maryam, that's Mary, who in Islam is considered the holiest of the holy among women. And the words are Hazrati Bibi Maryam, Assalamu alaikum. That means peace and greetings be upon you. And we become quiet, and from the other side, from the invisible realms, she blesses us by saying, replying, Wa alaikum assalam, and peace and greetings be upon you. Hazrati Bibi Maryam, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Pause. She replies, Wa alaikum assalam. Wa alaikum assalam. Second one is Asiya, the wife of the Pharaoh who rescued Moses from the river. Asiya. Hazrati Bibi Asiya, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. Wa alaikum assalam. Fatima, daughter of the Prophet Muhammad. Hazrati Bibi Fatima, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. Wa alaikum assalam. Last one, Rabia. Hazrati Bibi Rabia, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. Wa alaikum assalam. My friends, while you're in this state of consciousness, just a very short prayer for many of us, of course, but two people in particular. I just got an email, the dear friend of mine from many years, whose name is Martin. He passed away. And also a lady in our community, I don't have permission to give her name, but with the initial S, suffered a brain bleed just recently. So keeping Martin, keeping S in your heart and mind, I like to just put my hands out and with increased necessity, just from the depths of our being, from the core of our inner self, sending out light and love. And blessings. A few more seconds with increased necessity from the depth of our being, sending out prayers of light and love. Thank you, my friends. I think, Sally Jo, it's you sharing our wealth.
So thank you, Jamal, for that beautiful sermon, and thank you all for being here today and for streaming in from abroad. This is the time in our service when we give back to the community through our monetary contributions, which is what upholds this wonderful community, the activities that we engage in, and this beautiful historic building, this wood-framed church, the oldest in King County, built in 1890. And we have the privilege of bringing it to life here in our community today and keeping it up in a format that will allow us to continue to gather here. We appreciate your contributions, and we know many of you contribute online through our website, Interfaith Community Sanctuary.org. Those of you in the greater audience outside of our building here have been very generous, and we hope will continue to give so that we can thrive and survive in these sometimes difficult times financially. So thank you all for doing what you can, and all the wonderful volunteers who also give their time and their energy, which also equals money in this world. And we've been very grateful for all those who continue to contribute in that way. Thank you. Maybe somebody else could pass that around while I do the announcements. That would be wonderful. And we also want to let you know about upcoming gatherings, which we are sponsoring and supporting here in the community. Of course, we meet every Sunday now in person. People keep asking me, are you meeting in person? Yes, we are meeting in person. We have, 15 people here today, and every Sunday more and more are coming in. And we also have our live stream going every Sunday, 10 a.m. Next Sunday, our own Reverend Karen Lindquist will be presenting her take on encountering the infinite and meeting the Divine Mother in humanity, and we'll be celebrating Mary Magdalene's feast day, which happens July 22nd, and we will honor her as the apostle to the apostles and reflect upon her story and our story. That will be next Sunday at 10 a.m. Also, after the service today, all of you who are here are invited to join us downstairs in the newly finished fellowship hall floor, all polished up and painted by Michael Douglas with a beautiful labyrinth. This is in response to our flooding situation from last winter. We're working on recovering from that, and we appreciate, again, all the hard work that's gone into that recovery work, and we are welcome downstairs after the service to share in some food and fellowship and coffee and tea. Also, we have, starting this week on Wednesday evening online on Zoom, Jamal will be starting his new spiritual development class, Spiritual Insights and Practices to Cultivate Laughter and Joy. And we all know that Jamal has a lot of laughter and joy in his soul, and he loves to help us develop that within ourselves. We'll be basing our work from July 20th through August 31st on his wonderful, well-selling book, Sacred Laughter of the Sufis, Awakening the Soul with the Mullahs, Comic Teaching Stories, and Other Islamic Wisdom. And we'll be meeting on Zoom on Wednesday evenings from 7 to 9 p.m. from this Wednesday, July 20th through August 31st. If you would like to register for that, please see me or Jamal after the class, and we can get you set up for that. And also, we have a very important citywide program coming up July 31st, which is a Sunday, from 2 to 5 p.m. This is also a live program, but not here in this sanctuary, but in St. Patrick's Church on Capitol Hill. And we are working with Northwest Interfaith and other faith organizations throughout the city, St. Patrick's Church, the Congregation Kol Ami, and Gaia's Temple, and other St. Joseph's Church. We're working with King County, and we're doing a climate solutions program called Spirit of Hope. And this will be a way of caring for creation with family and in community. This is a multi-faith, youth-guided collaboration, which will be educational, experiential, and action-oriented. Our guest keynote presenter is Jeff Renner, climate action activist and meteorologist. He will be working with our youth panel of youth from all over the city and the globe, working on climate solutions. And there will be an outdoor nature ritual in the park adjacent to St. Patrick's Church, and that will be led by Reverend Judith Laxer, who is the founding priestess of Gaia's Temple. There will also be a resource roundtable and a time to talk about ways we can work in our community right here to bring forth solutions to our climate crisis. And we hope you will join us. There is a place to register online. It's a $5 registration fee just to get people here. And the program will be very engaging and very wonderful on Sunday, July 31st. And we hope you will pick up a flyer and spread the word and be there yourself and bring friends. And I think it'll be a very engaging program.
Flyers out there.
Yeah, and the flyers have more information about all the different speakers and so on. So I know there are also weekly gatherings that happen in our community. We have our Thursday meditation circle called Sitting in Silence. It meets here in the sanctuary, 7 o'clock every Thursday. That's just a silent meditation group where we go very deep and enjoy the group meditation led by George Ramirez. And thank you, George, for leading that. We have the Sisiwas Medicine Circle that meets every week. I think they're meeting mainly on Zoom, but you can find that on the website. And also the Masnawi class and the Course in Miracles. We have many groups meet all week throughout the week, and our website is replete with all the different meetings and who you can contact to get connected. So never think about this as just a Sunday morning venture. This is a community that works together in many different ways to reach out to people and serve our spiritual needs in whatever ways they come up for us, whatever it is that draws our hearts toward this work of compassion that Jamal's been talking about. We want to do that in community, and we thank you for being part of this wonderful community.
As we in the past, are you ready for blessing it?
Yeah, okay. We will say, we thank God for giving us this opportunity to share our wealth, to give of the bounty of which God has given us, and to recycle that bounty, as we call it, as we are given, as God gives to us, we give back to our community and to our people. And we thank you. Amen.
Okay, you can blow into this if you like. Okay. So my dear friends, for the online friends we have, we're going to close this with a blessing. And I think the blessing is, I am blessed by your presence, right, Karen? Yeah. I think we say we. We are blessed by your presence, O Lord. Take a deep breath. We are filled with your blessings, Allah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, Ya Allah. One more time. We are blessed by your presence, O Lord. Deep breath. We are filled with your blessings, Allah. La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, Ya Allah. So my dear friends, on behalf of myself, the Reverend Karen, and all of you present here in this building, we thank our wonderful friends who are online. Please know your presence has been a blessing. Please have a wonderful Sunday. And once again, God bless and thank you. Bye-bye.